reject social hierarchy. What do I mean by rejecting social hierarchy? I mean the status quo. How most people judge who is on the bottom of society and who is at the top. And especially how people at the top view everybody else below them, and how they're relative to themselves, usually thinking that everybody else below them is inferior for not having achieved their level of wealth, of business acumen, of property, and of power, influence. Now, people, and even the middle class and the poor, rank each other, not necessarily consciously, but subconsciously. We tend to rank each other by, what job somebody has, how much they make a year, what kind of property they own, what kind of car they have. And this experience of social hierarchy is counterintuitive to human existence. Human beings are incredibly complex. We can experience more and understand more and be more than any other life form on this planet. So, to bring other human beings down to the level of the description of how much they can make, what kind of property they own, how much power they have, who they know, and basically how far they've come from where they were earlier in life, is to completely misunderstand the wealth that is the human experience, the gold that is the human ability to completely break down the universe, completely break down reality for oneself and try and understand it, to see it for what it is. And that can't and doesn't always, well, it can translate to success in the material realm, in materialistic society, but it doesn't always. And it's certainly, just because you are successful in the material society, that doesn't mean that you understand reality, that you've completely broken down your understanding of things and have truly contemplated all there is to contemplate in humanity. Those who contemplate the most and understand the most, and at least relate to reality in a way that they have a personal viewpoint down to the nitty-gritty through experience and through realization over time, as knowledge is gained and wisdom is gained through patience. People who do this, who are on these higher levels of knowledge, wisdom, achieved through patience and experience and contemplation, they don't have to own anything. Sadhus in India, they own nothing, but they are some of the wisest men on the earth. A lot of them, I don't know how the percentage, but a lot of them don't even wear clothes. And they provide for themselves. They live in the forest. They gather vegetables, fruits, roots, and travel, and just find elements for themselves to live, but more importantly, get closer to God by following the thread within themselves, because there's a thread in every life form, in every piece of material, that leads right back to its source. Kind of like I guess you say, a tracking device within each of us, that has hints of where it came from, and that tracking device, that string that binds us all from the source of where we came from, is understood in a variety of ways. It's not just understood through one culture, through one religion, through one spirituality. It is understood in as many ways as it takes for every single soul to work its way back to the source. Social hierarchy. Money can buy a lot of things, but it can't buy happiness. It can't buy peace. It can't buy contentment. It can make you satisfied physically, but at the end of your life, you can't take the money with you. You can't buy salvation. You can't buy better karma. You can't buy heaven or hell. You can't buy Svarg or Narg in Hinduism and older versions of Hinduism, where Svarg is the heaven and Narg is the hells. Even though these things are temporary in Hinduism, and the true astral heaven is when you truly advance And to get to a greater stage of advancement, a greater stage of enlightenment, to where you move beyond this world, not just to enjoy for a time, burn off good karma, come back, or go down for a time, burn off bad karma, and come back, but to truly to reach enlightenment and to move on, you have to not value the material of this base materialistic society, of this base materialistic world. And this can be in a capitalistic society, a communist society, any different political society, a monarchy, a parliament, it doesn't matter. There is still materialistic value in every society on this earth and in all the other planets in the universe and the multiverse who have that flavor of valuing wealth, valuing material gain. But social hierarchy exists throughout this universe and throughout the multiverse. And the planets who are most sattvic, who have the purest nature. We have tamas, darkness, torpor, three natures. These are the three natures. Tamas is torpor and laziness and darkness and ignorance. Rajas, and our world is rajasic, restless, between darkness and light, basically, between corruption and purity. Rajas is the restlessness, is the constant need for material, the constant pursuit of material, and the constant back and forth between ignorance and realization of the light and the truth that is inherent in all things. But sattva, there are galaxies, and there are other universes, of course. But even there are galaxies on this universe's plane that are sattvic, which means that they don't value material; they value each other. Beings on sattvic worlds and sattvic galaxies, they value each other. They care for human life, and when I say human, I mean sentient, the height of sentience and intelligence. And they value intelligent life, and they value plant life. They value animal life, and they have an appropriate relationship between the different forms of life. And they know the ultimate goal is not to value what is here, but to gain and work towards what is beyond, and join with the ultimate whole. That's what sattvic worlds and galaxies and even universes have the nature of. Now, social hierarchy even exists in sattvic worlds and galaxies and universes in the multiverse. But the more enlightened a society, the less there is a division between peoples in a society. The less that the materialistic caste system exists. Now, the true version of the caste system that it was meant to be is that you do whatever you're good at, whatever you enjoy. But it became, over time, as it got corrupted and ignorance crept in that is not founded in Hinduism, the caste system started to be diluted into, okay, somebody with this skin color, born into this family, or born with this amount of money, is on this level of society, whether lower or higher, and that's when the caste system got polluted by its lack of upkeep by wise men, by sages, by sattvic people. But now, in the United States of America, we're considered a first world country. This feels like we are, purer than other people. That we are more well off. So obviously, we're doing something right. And some of those things are true, but most of these ideas of we're better off because we've worked hard and done better. Most of these things do not take into account the fact that there is that element that no matter how far away from our revolution we go, there has always been this fluctuation of resources, of conflict, and it's tipped in our favor for now, and we are better off now. But that doesn't mean that we live in a pocket where we've done everything right, that's why we're the best. It just means that the scale of things tends to dip in our favor for right now, slant in our favor because of circumstances. But even in the United States, and this is speaking to other people in the United States, we are very close to tipping in a different direction if we don't start to value all the people in our society. A lot of people who see a homeless person or a person who is begging or diseased or had a seizure and maybe they still have money but they're going around in a cart, a lot of people look down on them, and I see it. I see when people look down on a poor person or somebody who has a physical disability, and they look at them and think that they're just worthless. And, we have to look at how we value worth, how we calculate worth, how we see people and why we see them that way. And a lot of people judge a book by its cover and just assume if they're begging or they're homeless or they need something that they're a bad person. They don't want to work for it. But in the end, that is just not the truth. You can't evaluate somebody based on that. And it is better to even give to somebody who has a chance of being selfish, who has a chance of just not wanting to work for money, than it is to reject somebody who could actually need it and has gone through all the avenues available to them to gain their own money, to gain their own place of living, to gain their own food. And it's far better to give with the risk of giving to somebody who is selfish than it is to not give and risk not giving to somebody who truly deserves and needs it. I completely reject the social hierarchy, because the way that society usually views people is how much you can produce. And we're more than what we can produce, because the human being is so complex and much vaster, and a single moment of human life cannot be bought back with all the wealth in the universe. It is intelligence trumps wealth, trumps gold. Life itself is more important than the materialistic gains another person can have, if gained by taking from multiple human beings, if taken by looking the other way while other human beings suffer. That kind of wealth burns through our very soul and destroys us, as it should. So, in conclusion, I'd like to say that I reject social hierarchy in all its forms. And that, businessmen, a lot of them might work for it, might get there because they actually worked hard for it. But to look down on somebody, even if you worked very hard to get where you are, even if you're wealthy and you worked every minute for it, to look down on other people makes you and all that work worthless. Because to look down on somebody just because you've done this, or you think that you've earned everything that you have, and even if you have, to look down on somebody else because they haven't is to not value human life, but to value what human life can gain in wealth. And that is destroying your own value, your own human life. So thank you very much for watching. If you like this video at all, hit that thumbs up down there. If you want to comment, you disagree or agree with me, feel free to shoot down in the comment section below, and I will surely see you in the future.